The great thing about being an inventor is that the title really has no boundaries. It's all about imagination and determination. You know, the dream big, don't quit mentality that I may have mentioned over 100 times. And the incredible drive to be an inventive contender has nothing to do with the inventor's gender. Let's time travel a bit, beginning in the 1950s, to the story of early computing and specifically something known as core memory.
Core memory is a type of physical computer memory, so they're usually like these little squares about this big, and there are 64 wires typically that go across this way, up and down, and then on an angle. It's a type of computer memory where you can store data.
I sat down with curator Kristen Gallerneaux in the weaving shop in Greenfield Village.
These were actually woven by hand by people called the LOLs. And I'm not talking about internet lingo. I'm talking about the little old ladies, which is not a very nice way of saying it, but that's what they became known as, these women who were weaving core memory in factories.
And those LOLs, do we know if they knew the significance of what they were doing?
Oh, they definitely did. But the most unfortunate part of their story is that we don't actually know much about them.
Was this highly sensitive work?
Part of it was used to help get us to the moon, so that was obviously government contract work. But then after the Apollo missions, the core memory ends up getting used in a lot of computers.
And is this really the progenitor to the microchip?
It is. Eventually, this becomes obsolete, and it's replaced by something called semiconductor technology.
A different story of innovation dates back to Iowa in the 1870s, as explained by curator of domestic life, Jeanie Miller. When you think of the early inventors of household appliances, are there any names that come to mind?
Mary Florence Potts, also known as Mrs. Potts. She created some improvements to the iron, a wooden detachable handle that stayed cool to the touch. She made her iron lighter by having it filled with plaster of Paris. She also made it pointed at each end so you could use it in either direction. When the irons are all made out of iron, the handles get hot. But with this iron, you could touch the wooden handle and easily move it from iron to iron.
You know what I love even more than ironing?
What?
Chocolate chip cookies. In the late 1930s, a woman named Ruth Wakefield reinvented the cookie. You might know it as the Nestle Tollhouse chocolate chip cookie.
Ruth and her husband, Kenneth, ran this restaurant in an old house in Whitman, Massachusetts, and they called it the Tollhouse Inn. So the cookies were named after the inn. She was a dietitian and a chef, and she wanted to create a new dessert. So she thought she would try using chocolate in a different way, and just combining small pieces chipped off of a chocolate bar into her butter cookie batter. And hence
chocolate chips
were born.
How was she compensated for her efforts?
When Ruth let them put her recipe on the Nestle's chocolate packages, she is supposed to have gotten a lifetime supply of free chocolate.
When it comes to the bigger picture, in the world of innovation, there never is just one kind of smart cookie.